I foresee a repeat of what happened when 4th edition was released. D&D will fade away until WotC's management wakes up and reverses course. I remember 4E because I didn't buy it. It was terrible, and so are any changes to the OGL.
If OGL 1.1 goes through, I'll be following my favorite content creators to the new system of their choice.
Third parties have already been building their own TTRPG system. Wizards of the Coast will effectively burn out and die. The longer you ignore this, the more it will hurt you. Backpedal or fade away.
No, not questions, not meek and passive queries. Demands! Outraged and disgusted demands. You can't fix this by answering questions. How patronizing! Read the room. You have to scrap this greedy and callous assault on our hobby. You depend on us. We do not depend on you.
Too late, I'm canceling D&D Beyond after I finish my Curse of Strahd campaign. I'll be using another system going forward.
Thanks for the reminder to cancel Beyond. These were all comments in response to D&D Beyond's post on Facebook. The only bit of information we've heard at all from any kind of Wizards of the Coast source regarding the OGL 1.1 license debacle.
As of this recording, which is Wednesday night, January something.
They said, we know you have questions about the OGL. We will be sharing more soon. Thank you for your patience. Well, I think it's hilarious. It's like there's a burning building and a child is watching the burning building who are the fans. And Wizards of the Coast is like, oh no, don't look over here. There's a show on Paramount Plus that's coming out for D&D. Don't worry about that burning building. Everyone, Matt Mercer's like, wah!
Let's get serious for a second. We want to be as blunt and frank and clear as possible. The alleged leak of the OGL 1.1, we do not support this in any way, shape, or form. We do not suggest that any third-party creators agree to this new OGL if this is what is coming. This is not an open agreement in any way, shape, or form. This is highly restrictive. And this is Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro's trying to appease their shareholders. And all they're trying to do is make money in the laziest and sleaziest way possible. And we frankly find it to be pretty disgusting.
If this is new information to you, if you're not sure what the Open Gaming License is and what the changes entail, please go back, watch Rules Lawyer's video. He is a lawyer. He's not in intellectual property law, but he knows a lot of the terminology and can break down about anything about what's happening with the changes going on. Watch his video. Also watch D&D Short's video. He really breaks down in a smart and simple way the events that are happening right now.
And why it's so bad for the creatives of this community that we're a part of. We'll have links to those videos down in the nether realm below.
I think it's very important to preface how we got to this point, right? Because like, this community has grown with D&D, and we're pretty new to that community. There are some big names who have grown with the community and have developed, full-time businesses and full teams that they run and have to pay, and it's their livelihood. And they really brought D&D with them to the top. No mistake. It's not as if Dungeons and Dragons was like, hey, come with us, guys, and like they paved the way and it's not like they had all the films and the shows first. Like those are things that are coming out now because they're trying to capitalize on those things now.
They're trying to build the brand now that the brand is as popular and recognizable as it's ever been. And that is thanks to third-party creators. That is thanks to shows like Critical Role and Stranger Things. It's not because 5th edition was the best edition of Dungeons and Dragons ever.
No.
It was just sort of this perfect storm of everything happening. Older people rediscovering the hobby, young people being introduced to it for the first time via pop culture, and it has exploded. And the OGL is a huge part of that for creatives that do third-party products, and a lot of YouTubers have Patreons and their own books that they publish using this open gaming license.
Dungeons & Dragons 5e is like Paint. Their rules system is like Paint. Dungeons & Dragons Wizards of the Coast has allowed us to use their paint of rules to create whatever we want as long as it doesn't refer to anything directly personal to the D&D lore names.
The IP.
Right, the IP.
Trademark stuff. You can't use Beholders. You can't use Mordenkainen. You can't use Tasha. You can't use all of those things.
Well, now they're saying that everything that we paint, they want full creative control to use and make money off of.
And they don't have to tell you that they're doing it. They're just, we own it. You made it, but we own it. Sorry. Thanks for participating in Dungeons and Dragons and 1 D&D. We'll take all your lovely ideas here and we're going to put them out in this product.
Could you imagine a paint company telling an artist that they have to send them copies of all the art they make with their paint so that they can sell and distribute their work?
We already know that, like, with board games and rules, you can't copyright them.
No.
So even the fact that the OGL exists in any place is kind of a nebulous thing in general. It was almost like this gentleman's agreement where Hasbro / Wizards of the Coast at the time was like, you know, we're not going to be all sue happy like TSR was. So here's this agreement so that make products for our systems and don't worry about us suing you. That's really all it was ever invented for. That was the only purpose of the OGL.
And everyone trusted it. And it came from a trustworthy source until things started changing in the corporation, in the organization, and
all the people that were around, they're long gone.
Yeah. New people in charge are making new decisions. And it's going to be hard to stop that. If you've been following Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, Dungeons & Dragons products for a few years now, it should not come as a surprise to you that this was going to happen. And we've been seeing the downward slope for a long time now, probably about a year, maybe a year and a half. And the bulk of what makes this hobby great is on the backs of third-party creators. Third-party creators make better things than Wizards of the Coast is making. And I'm pretty sure they know that.
You'd have to imagine that that's the case.
So I can see why they're coming after us now, and third-party creators. They're trying to reel in the competition, reel in the royalties and the money, and they haven't even announced what they're going to do to players yet. And it's coming.
Yes, this is only focused on third-party content creators because they're seeing these massive Kickstarters from really creative people that are putting their hearts and souls into these products, and they're just like greedily being like, yeah, we need a piece of that.
Yep.
They talked about how they haven't monetized players at all. They're like, you know, Dungeon Masters make up like 80% of all of our profits and stuff, because they're the ones that buy everything and they buy the miniatures and the adventures. Players don't buy anything, and shareholders don't like that. Because that's 80% of your entire community that you haven't figured out a way to monetize.
Yeah.
So this is only the first shoe that is dropped. More awful stuff is probably coming via that virtual tabletop, which is likely going to try to control every single little thing you do regarding your character and how it interacts with D&D Beyond. I'm sure that D&D Beyond subscription's going to bump up in price. They are going to start looking to really gouge and nickel and dime players to make more money to appease shareholders, because that is what a corporation has to do. They don't care about players. They don't care about dungeon masters. They don't really care about third-party creatives. They care about appeasing their shareholders.
But I don't think they've realized what they've done. I don't think they've realized how many creatives have groups, massive groups of followers.
Because you're just not attacking the creatives. You're attacking all the fans of those products that they create.
And they might just be players and dungeon masters and not make third-party content themselves, but you have hurt their third-party creator. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and in the current times where the pitchforks they've already come out.
They're sharp.
Yep. Kamo, this whole thing, it reeks of history repeating itself.
Doesn't it?
4th edition. They went away being wizards of the open gaming license, and they created the GSL.
Yes. The game system license.
Which was for 4th edition. They still left the open gaming license available, so you could still make 3rd edition and 3.5 edition content. But what ended up happening was 4th edition was a dud People hated the GSL, it was super restrictive, and Pathfinder was born out of that, and it actually overtook D&D in popularity and sales, which seems to be exactly what's happening right now with the advent of 1D&D. Let's just be real, it's 6th edition. Coming out.
Everyone else is saying it too.
What's coming out a year from now. So you have this system that's being set up for failure already. You have this horrible alleged OGL. It's just like, oh, we'll try this. Then what's the worst that could happen? We're going to piss off like a few people.
And the thing was, in 2008, when the 4th edition thing happened, they did the same thing. They backpedaled and they said, sorry guys, yeah, it is a little restrictive and we're going to change the terminology. People didn't care. The damage had been done and people were done. And they looked for other sources. I mean, let's get real. This hobby is about the hobby, and it's about groups of friendships and storytelling. And D&D is just a rule system.
Yeah.
All right? And it was proven in 2008 that it was just a rule system. And I feel like it's just going to happen now.
Yeah. If your only exposure to the game is 5th edition and you're experiencing these insane popularity of this game, it wasn't always like that.
No.
And there's a chance in the future it's not going to be like that. Something else is going to take its place.
It's going to get old. It's going to get monotonous. It's going to feel like the same thing all the time, and you're going to want to mix it up. I'm really surprised because shareholders should have been paying attention to this downward slope that's been happening over the past year, and maybe they have, right?
You mean with the subpar products?
Subpar products. A lot of them don't really understand the hobby. So, like announcements that, oh, there's not many dungeon masters in New York City to run games. They don't understand what that means. Guess who trains dungeon masters? Hey. And our other content creator buddies. Even earlier this year, a small group of Hasbro shareholders suggested that they take Wizards of the Coast and separate it from Hasbro and make them a sister company that operates on its own and then reports to Hasbro. They can increase the market value of the shares, and then Wizards can really focus on what makes great products.
Yeah, because they're right now they're two golden geese. Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons are faltering.
Yeah, they were messing up with Magic the Gathering. They were putting out like $1,000 packs of rare cards, and some of them were fake.
You couldn't even use
them.
Yeah. And let's be real. The reason that they had these record numbers in 2020 and 2021 was because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Everyone was playing D&D because there was nothing else to do. You were stuck at home. You're like, I'm going to try out Roll20. I'm going to try out Foundry, whatever it was. We were all playing. We were all buying up as much D&D crap as we could. And then corporations, they can't just have, you can't have record years and then, your sales forecast for the following year is even higher. So when you don't have a pandemic sitting there and inflating artificially almost those numbers, your shareholders don't care.
And they fell back one quarter.
Yeah. And here we are. They've resulted to, again, one of the most sleaziest and disgusting ways to try to quickly boost their bottom line.
How to quickly end their 70% of their value.
It's like a masterclass in just PR nightmare situation. Like everything you should never do as a massive company to it's like how can we make our fan base despise us? That's what we're watching unfold in real time.
Wolf and I have been kicking ourselves wondering why the hell they were calling 5e compatible. Kicking ourselves. They're like, there's something we're missing here. As why they're calling 5e compatible. Because everything we saw with 1D&D, and everyone else has seen it, every other creator has seen it, where you're changing terminology in the rules. Anytime you change terminology in the rules, it's a new version.
It's not. There's not going to be backwards compatible without a book. That's here's how you make them compatible.
So the only reason why they've been saying that this is compatible is so they can tell you that you can't make 5e content because it's compatible with the new 1D&D system, and it falls under the OGL 1.1 license.
Allegedly.
But it all makes sense. right? That's why none of this feels alleged or fake or false, even though it's unconfirmed. But man, it hurts. So what's the scariest part to us?
I think the scariest thing for us is twofold. You sort of alluded at it earlier, where Hasbro/Wizards they just own your creative. If you're creating a book or a magic item or whatever it is and it uses the OGL, they can just take it. They can take your stuff. They don't have to tell you. They don't have to give you money for it. They can put it in a book in the future. They own your artistic, creative ideas, and I find that sickening. As someone that aspires to be a creative, I've put out creative things for other systems. I've used the OGL. I find it terrifying. I find it just sort of like absolutely bottom of the barrel ideas of like making money for a corporation. You're going after everyone from the giant whales to the little guppies swimming around, and they don't care who they grab in their net.
We're little guppies.
We are.
We are. You know, we've started last year, and we hope to grow. And we were about to release our Patreon. Wolf and I have been working on homebrew stuff that we were going to release and offer for Patreon supporters. And that's on hold because Wizards wants a cut. And we don't even know if opening the Patreon will help us grow, because that's probably most of the margin that we need to grow.
And we could make stuff system neutral, but again, we're not lawyers. We don't know what we can and can't include for words. And we don't want to get stuck in that situation where like someone comes calling and we get a cease and desist, or even worse, they're just like, hey, we really like this and we've stolen it. All the goodwill, all the popularity, everything that has happened in the past 10 plus years of just before 5e and up till now, you've done it. You've created the most popular role-playing game in the world. There are people's moms who know who Vecna is. There are little kids that they want to be Matt Mercer. They want to be professional dungeon masters. Like insane things that like I would never have believed to be true statements coming out of my mouth.
And a corporation had such strong connection and trust with their community. Do you know what corporation has such strong trust with their community these days? Not many. And they just showed it by shooting it down early this year.
True colors.
But that's not going to stop us. This is what we love. It's not our full-time gig yet, but we plan for it to be. We're going to follow the winds. We're going to listen to the voices and continue to contribute to this community and our fellow creators.
So right now, beyond what's scary for us and what's scary for everybody else is, what can you do to sort of make your voice heard? If you're not a YouTuber, you don't create third-party content, you just like Critical Role, you just like D&D, you just like Dungeon Crawl Classics, you just like Pathfinder 2e, whatever it is, they're all using the OGL. You know, hit the shareholders. You want to hit Wizards where it hurts, and that's by maybe closing your wallets a little bit. I, for one, I'm sort of done. I'm not going to be buying any more official Wizards of the Coast D&D products for the time being.
I canceled my D&D Beyond subscription today.
And you're seeing a lot of people doing that. I think you're going to see record amounts of people canceling their D&D Beyond subscriptions, and that's great.
Even if your subscription carries on for a couple of months, those numbers that they don't have your sub going down still matters.
They'll notice.
In their books.
Yep.
So while I was editing this video for January 12th, came across a new Gizmodo article claiming how Wizards of the Coast Thursday, January 12th announcement stream regarding the new OGL have been postponed due to the backlash on D&D Beyond with the overwhelming amount of subscription cancellations. They're apparently trying to pin this on Ginny D, but she really was only one of the major voices suggesting this action. The D&D landing page is shut down due to server errors. It's working, guys.
The other big thing to do is, you know, if there are third-party creators out there, whether they're YouTubers or they're just other companies or they're other tabletop role-playing games, go out there and support them right now. If there's another game that you like, if Dungeon Crawl Classics is your favorite game, go show Goodman Games some love. If Pathfinder 2e is your jam, Go buy some adventure paths and some of their awesome books or of their myriad of awesome products. Support their Patreons.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the channels that you like. If they have ways to donate money to them, do that. You want to, you know, spread your love around a little bit. That's the way. Just don't give your money right now to Wizards of the Coast. You can. I'm sure most of you have everything you need to play D&D. A lot of people, I'm sure, are going to use this as a way to be like, hey, we're going to try a different system.
It's an opportunity, right?
That's okay.
I mean, if it's a rehash of what happened in 2008, then it's happening. It's already happening. Immediately after the news of OGL 1.1, the community got together and wrote a letter to Wizards of the Coast asking them to please not put this out and to please keep the open license. You can go sign that letter in our description below. It is the Open D&D, hashtag Open D&D, hashtag on Twitter. Make your voice heard. Let's do everything we can for this.
Everything that has happened in the past week is but a glimpse of the outrage caused by Wizards of the Coast daring to open Pandora's box. And we think that the damage that's being done, it might be irreparable.
Yeah.
We just don't know. It doesn't look good. It's not a good look for Wizards. It's not a good look for Hasbro. And I don't think that the shareholders are going to be too pleased with Q1 2023.
No way, especially since there's another year until 1D&D even comes out.
I'm really happy to see that some big creators out there, they've made, YouTube creators specifically, they've made videos and they are speaking out. You know, they are not being bullied by Wizards of the Coast. They're not being bought out. Because that was a fear that I had initially. I was like, I don't know how much these people have to lose, but to see these giants of the YouTube community sort of banding together, it's bringing the community closer together.
They're sort of like, so what are we playing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, really.
So quickly. Just like, well, it may not be D&D that we're playing, so what are we playing?
Yeah, you got some breaking news that we found out today.
Yeah, so I mean, it's out there, but Kobold Press has announced they're working on their project, Black Flag, a new game system. Matt Colville at MCDM has also announced that he is working on his game system. So just those two announcements say a lot to the reoccurrence of history and that we're not alone, we're not left behind. Small content creators aren't left behind.
Nope.
Players and fans of third-party content aren't left behind.
I particularly love this news because, again, it reminds me of 2008 where, you know, between like 2010 and 2015, before 5th edition came out, there was a glut of really awesome, creative tabletop RPGs, and we're already seeing that. I love the fact that we're going to be getting a boost of creativity that's not D&D, because that's going to provide us stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that. I'm also really excited to not play D&D and try some other systems. And I have dozens of game books that I'm just like itching to play. I'm gonna dial it back. I'm not gonna go crazy and make all my players nuts, but there's a few that I'm like really itching to get to the table, and this is just an excuse to do so.
And we've loved D&D for so long, and we still love D&D, but we also love other tabletop gaming, and we want to open up and help you come into that world as well. There's so much out there, and it's all about just being in a group with your friends. You know, that's always been our strongest drive.
Sure.
It's what it's all about. You know, a lot of content creators, they have to make D&D videos because of the popularity of it. And we're really hoping that the popularity shifts with everything that's been going on. And we can just be lovers of games and good friendships.
So that's it for us for now. Stay tuned. Keep your ears to the ground. I'm sure Wizards is going to be announcing something soon, maybe by the time that this video is published. They'll have officially done something other than that really pathetic D&D Beyond tweet. Until then, keep watching us, keep supporting other YouTubers out there, like our videos, subscribe, just you know, be nice to each other out there. It's kind of a crappy time, but use this to sort of rise up, be better than that sleazy corporation. That's it.
We're fighting for you guys. We're fighting for community. Be cool out there, liches. Later.
Bye.